This is the full statement of Cassie against Diddy in the case of Cassie and Diddy's sex trafficking trial. Cassie narrates that Diddy would mash her head, drag her, kick her, and stomp her in the head when she was down. Cassie testified that her relationship with Combs ran through the good times to arguments and physical altercations. She also specified that Diddy had anger issues, so Diddy would most at times get violent with her if she doesn't obey to what Diddy wants. If there were violent arguments, it will usually result in some sort of physical abuse and dragging. Just different things, Cassie told the jurors. Cassie testified that Combs would mash her head, drag her, kick her, stomp her in the head when she was down. When asked how frequently Combs became violent with her, Cassie softly responded, "Too frequently." Cassie was asked briefly about freak-offs as she was shown still images from the now infamous 2016 security camera footage of Combs beating her at a Los Angeles hotel. Cassie said, "Before the altercation, we were having an encounter called a freak-off and I was living there." Cassie, who is noticeably pregnant on the witness stand, has been emotional from the start of her testimony as she takes deep breaths and sometimes pauses as she speaks. "I can imagine. Sometimes she even cried. Sean controlled a lot of my life, whether it was my career, the way I dressed, everything. I just don't have much to say in it at the time," Cassie testified. When the prosecutor questioned her about the freak-offs, she said she was barely 22 when Combs first asked her to do them. She said she was confused, nervous, but also loved him very much. "I just wish Cassie was able to talk to somebody, even if it's a friend, a close confidant, or her mom." Asked how she felt when Diddy first proposed engaging a freak-off, Cassie said, "I just remember my stomach falling to my butt. Just the nervousness and confusion in that moment." She said she didn't feel like she could say no to Combs because she didn't know what no could be or what no could turn into. What she said she learned could include violence and blackmailing threats. Cassie went further to testify that having sex with Diddy for the first time felt like a turning point. She said it made her feel closer to him, and as they spent more time together, she believed they were in a monogamous relationship. "In hindsight, I know that there wasn't the case," she said. Sean Combs had many girlfriends. Over time, Diddy became increasingly controlling and sometimes was violent, Cassie testified. "You made the wrong face and the next thing I knew I was getting hit in the face," she said. Cassie also said that if she didn't respond to his call right away, there would be an instant pause until she did, and Diddy's staffs, including security workers, would join in the pursuit. Cassie also went further to say that she was extremely jealous of her relationship with Diddy, and she now knows that it's because she was super young at the time she was in relationship with Diddy at the early stage. "I didn't get that he was him. And he would say, 'I am Pop Daddy. Pop Daddy has many rules. Lies the complaint of women,'" Cassie recalled. Though they saw that other people at times, Cassie said she eventually believed they were monogamous. "He expected that of me, so I assumed it was the same." Diddy told her, "I am not dealing with anyone else. It's just us." The prosecutor, Emily Johnson, asked Cassie what happened to her music career and the 9 albums that were never released. Cassie now replied that she recorded hundreds of songs, some leaked online, others just didn't see the light of day. She testified that much of her time was taken up by the freak-offs. Freak-offs became a job for her, where there was no space to do any other thing but to recover and just try to feel normal again, she said. After the Las Vegas trip, Cassie said she was invited by Diddy to hotels in New York where they would talk about music projects and albums. When Assistant U.S. Attorney Emily Johnson asked what else happened at those hotels, Cassie now replied, but before then she took a deep breath and said she was introduced to the idea of oral sex at the hotels. Cassie also noted that Diddy is 17 years older than her and that she was sexually inexperienced when they first got together. She said she eventually had sex with Combs on a boat during a trip to Miami. And she said she had wine in the afternoon and then Diddy introduced her to ecstasy for the first time. I just didn't know. I didn't know what would happen. Cassie elaborated on why she felt it was so difficult to refuse Combs' demands. Her fears of violence and blackmail videos from freak-offs being disseminated on the internet. So Diddy threatened that he would show her videos on the internet. And remember, some of these freak-offs, Diddy was not in the picture, he was not in the video. So it was Cassie and some of the male escorts. So you can imagine her fears of Diddy releasing such videos to the internet. Diddy is really a polarizing human being. Also really charming, Cassie said. It's hard to really be able to decide in that moment what you need when he's telling you what he wants. I just didn't know. I didn't know what would happen. So when asked how she was able to make money for her career, Cassie now testified that she made money through hosting parties, not her music, but only with Diddy's approval. Diddy allegedly criticized her appearance, saying she looked too Mexican with a particular hairstyle. He preferred her nails white with French tips. Her hairstyles varied, and she mentioned shaving her head in 2009 on Diddy's request. She testified that Diddy told her to work out and prepare for the free-offs. When asked, how did you feel about these comments, she replied, it varied. Cassie recalled an incident in which Diddy left her during a freak-off at the Los Angeles home to confront rival record executive Suge Knight at Mel's Drive-In, a popular diner nearby. Diddy sprang into action after his bodyguard came in and told him of Knight's whereabouts. She explained, Diddy and his bodyguards, dressed in black clothes, grabbed guns from a safe and loaded into an SUV. That she was crying and was screaming like, please don't do anything stupid. Cassie said, I was really nervous for them. I didn't know what they were going to do. She said it's like I wasn't even there. Cassie also said Diddy let her return, but she didn't say if he told her what happened. It's unclear if he ended up seeing Knight at the diner. She went further to say that Diddy paid for things like cars and gave her cash, but would take them away based on his mood. When asked what else he would take away, she answered, my self-confidence. She says staff would also take things away. She went further to testify that her laptop and her phone were taken by security whenever she was being punished and would be kept as long as the punishment lasted. She was in daily contact with Diddy's staff. She identified people in photos as Christina, Coram, KK, Miss Fletcher, and The Rock, who was part of Diddy's security team. Cassie went further to talk about the free-offs that occurred in Diddy's Los Angeles home at the age of 22 around 2008. She said a male Las Vegas stripper came to the house just months after Diddy told her about his interest in free-offs. Cassie said the free-offs were a very choreographed experience with lots of baby oil. The substance would be heated up, a closed bottle placed in a sink filled with hot water, and applied literally because Diddy wanted her glistening constantly, she said. She testified that Diddy would call her out when she looked dry and ordered her to reapply the baby oil on herself, sometimes requiring a new coat of baby oil every 5 minutes or so. On one occasion, she said, a blow-up pool of baby oil and lubricants was placed in a hotel room, and she was told to get inside in her outfit and shoes. She also said close to 10 large-sized bottles of baby oil will be used during a free-off. I wonder the kind of craze Diddy had for baby oil. For him to have a bowl of baby oil in the hotel room, for her to walk into the baby oil with her with her clothes on, just to have baby oil all over her. So this whole thing with Diddy, one could term it as an obsession. Diddy was really sick. It was such a mess, she said. It was like, what are we doing? An email exchange was shown in the court. In the email, Cassie referred to Diddy as Pop-Up. She testified that Diddy asked her what she used to call her grandfather, and why she went along with it at the time. She now knows that was so disrespectful. So Diddy wanted Cassie to call him whatever Cassie was calling the grandpa, and in that case, Cassie was calling the grandfather Pop-Up, and she was not calling Diddy Pop-Up. Another message was introduced to Cassie. Cassie wrote to Diddy that she really needs to fuck. When asked why she sent it, she said it was because she wanted to be with him. In a separate message, Diddy asked if she wanted to stop, and Cassie responded by calling herself predictable. You know, there is something that you started so early. Diddy introduced Cassie to this sick behavior at an early stage, so she was getting addicted to Diddy. So nobody will blame her for writing those messages at that time. And you can remember, she said she was under the influence of drugs and alcohol that Diddy introduced to her. The prosecutor asked what she believed the message meant. Cassie said she thought he understood she didn't want to keep doing it, but she pulled back out of fear, adding that her fear stemmed from his past violent behavior with her. Cassie also testified that she responded to the escort's ads on Craigslist and Backpage while in New York. When asked if she ever contacted escorts on her own, she said no. In court, when asked by the prosecutor if she wanted to be urinated on, Cassie firmly replied no, calling the experience disgusting and saying she choked due to too much urine in her mouth. No one could think I wanted it, she said. This is so sad. How could Diddy stoop a human being this low for her to be urinated? In fact, in this case, I don't even know what to say. I wish Cassie was able to confide in someone. She had other celebrity friends or colleagues. She would have run for her life. She stated Diddy urinated on her and emphasized, I didn't want anyone to urinate on me. Cassie said it happened often enough. When asked about hotel damages, she identified the Intercontinental in New York as the most expensive, noting he had to redecorate the entire room. Cassie said she took ecstasy and alcohol beforehand and wore a masquerade mask as part of a disguise, as instructed by Diddy. Each session lasted until the escort finished, and she recalled at least 2 such encounters with the first escort. Cassie testified that she couldn't recall all the freakouts because there were so many. She said she wanted to stop, describing the experiences as humiliating and emotionally overwhelming, breaking down in tears on the stand. Although she told Combs that she didn't want to continue, she approached the topic gently out of fear. She didn't want to simply replace her with someone else or become angry. She was really scared of Diddy at that moment. Cassie also went further to testify that on one occasion, an escort was sent away because he couldn't perform. She explained that a safe escort was someone who wasn't a cop and who wouldn't talk about their experience. When asked why avoiding a cop mattered, she said she realized that the situation was illegal, prompting a defense objection, and the judge instructed the jury to disregard her comments. Regarding payment, Cassie said either security delivered the cash or Diddy brought it himself. Cassie also testified that she used drugs at every pickup to disassociate with herself and feel emotionless, naming drugs like Special K, JHB, mushrooms, ecstasy, and MDMA. She said Combs also used drugs and sometimes the escorts did too. In an email exchange, Cassie confirmed they were discussing drug use with Combs, indicating he was high. She explained she took more drugs to mentally escape the experiences, which she said she hated. Even when the drugs made her vomit, Diddy told her to continue. Cassie testified that she did not want to continue having intercourse when she felt like vomiting. She described the effects of various drugs. GHB made her feel drunk and tipsy. Cocaine made her heart race, which she didn't like. And mushrooms caused her hallucinations, making the walls appear to come alive. Cassie went further to testify about being directed by Diddy on who to contact when drugs ran out. She also describes an incident where, after an escort finished, Diddy instructed that the substance be placed on his body, specifically his nipples. This is something she did but did not want to do. Cassie testifies to feeling dehumanized and objectified by men, with some sessions being watched by Diddy via FaceTime. Recordings of the sessions sometimes appeared on Cassie's devices, which she would delete, calling them disgusting and expressing a desire for no one ever to see them. Diddy's devices were also used at times. Cassie asked him to delete the videos, but doesn't know if he did. Cassie recounts leaving a freak off early at the Century City Intercontinental because of an upcoming premiere. She says Diddy became very violent, hitting her between sessions. As she tried to leave via the elevator, he allegedly threw her to the ground, grabbing Cassie by the neck and hoodie. The prosecutor then presented hotel hallway video evidence to support this account. In all of this, one may wonder, why would Diddy do such things if despite having daughters? And what is even shocking is that the daughters were in the courtroom listening, hearing all these atrocities performed by Diddy. And he is still confident, allowing the children listen to all of this. It shows you the kind of man Diddy is. Diddy went too far in this freak-offs. Sometimes when these men come into wealth, they feel they are like God. They are not touchable. They want to do the most crazy and the most freakiest of things on earth. Now, people are wondering, where is the crime in all of this? Because Cassie was a willing participant. But you will wonder, yes, they were together 10 years plus, yes. She benefited from his lifestyle, and yes, it may have started in a consensual manner. But none of that justifies abuse. Yes, inflicting fear, pain, and control is never okay. And we need to also remember that Cassie was really very young. She was 22 at that time. What did she know? Yes, even though she was an adult at that time, but she was a young adult. And at that time, grooming is real. It starts with love bombing you, gifting you, and affection to build trust. Then come isolation, manipulation, and control. Vulnerability is created, not accidental. This is a classic predator behavior. Find them young, break them, those who are desperate, because Cassie was desperate for her career to take off, and she was actually signed to Diddy's label. So she was desperate for her career, then they dominated her. Consent at the start doesn't excuse abuse that follows after. So I don't see why people are saying she accepted it, she gave consent. No is no. This is not fair. Anyway, guys, this is it about the first day of trial. Cassie was on stand for this case between Diddy's trial. So please stay tuned on my channel. I'll be bringing you more stories as the story unfolds. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share.